Hey folks, Fernando doing our video for the Modern Survivalists. Stick around for this video. I'm telling you, it's something you want to listen to no matter where you live, because this is the kind of thing that happens very frequently. In fact, even some folks that are very much into survival and preparedness, there's been so many cases of people that lost everything due to fires. So I just did this same video for my Spanish channel. It's called SupervivienciaModerna. Probably a link is over there below in the description if you want to follow me in Spanish. Doing the same thing. But the thing is, in Argentina right now, there's these huge fires across the southern part of Patagonia, and there's people losing everything. And there's people that are just realizing that just a little bit of preparedness could have gone a long way. And there's even people that have gone through this already once or twice. There's been people that have gone through volcano eruptions, ashes. So that's going to be the topic of this video, and it's going to be 10 points basically so as to help you prepare for this sort of event. I'm also reminded of what happened in Fukushima given the anniversary. Some of these things apply, some of these they don't, but most of these do in fact, and this is going to be a good starter for you to prepare for fires, earthquakes, tsunamis, nuclear disasters, anything that's basically forcing you out of where you are. This is the video you probably want to watch. So let's start with number one. Okay, number one doesn't involve buying anything, doesn't involve spending a single cent. It involves just having a plan. So number one is have a plan. What I mean by that is, what the hell do I do if my house burns out right now? If I have to leave right now, there's a video from Fukushima where a guy walks out of the house seconds, just like 4 or 5 seconds before a wave destroys the house completely. The world is ending with that wave. It just washes up the house, and the guy walks out of that door in just a few seconds, 4 or 5 seconds tops. Very shocking video, but that's the kind of thing that happens. How many times have you heard about people that walk out of their houses and just wearing their pajamas and nothing else? I was just listening to a woman in Argentina. She said we left with what we had on our backs, just the clothes on their backs. That's all they left with when everything burned down for them. Okay, what does a plan involve? Where am I going to be going? My house burns out. What do I do? Do I have a minute to grab something? Do I have 5 minutes to get my cell phone, my car keys? How much time do I have? What would I do if I have nothing? If I just go out the door barefoot? What would I be doing? Do I have some kit somewhere else? Do I have a kit in my vehicle like we talked so many times? What is it that I'm going to be doing then? If I get to my car, where I'm going to be driving? Friends, family? Is there a town where I know I'm likely to find shelter or a place to stay? Do I have someone that's going to be helping me out? Have I talked about this with that person and told them, look, if something happens, could I go to your place? Maybe the answer is no. Maybe the answer is yes. You don't know until you ask, and you don't have a plan until you actually form one. All right. Number two, insurance. Now, there's still nothing here regarding that. Insurance does take a little bit of money, but insurance is key. I'm talking about life insurance in case you die and your family is left to fend for themselves. I'm talking about house insurance for fires, for floods, personal belongings, the house itself. Insuring your property is key in case you lose everything. And if the insurance company is not covering you, well, maybe you want to look at why is it that they're not covering your property for flood damage. Maybe that's not a place where you should be in the first place. This happens a lot. No, they don't cover us here because there's floods every once in a while. Well, maybe that's a tell. Maybe that's something you want to look into. And let's go to number three, our beloved survivalist mask. Your mask that you should have had all along, that you probably got with COVID or maybe are thinking about getting. The mask is the way in which you breathe when the air is not breathable. This happened actually in Australia not that long ago. People with N95 masks trying to breathe through the ashes in the air. It's the same thing with volcanic ash. The things that happen when volcanoes erupted in Argentina back in the day, Chile, fires. It's always anything that's compromising the air. You want to have something that allows you to breathe. And for that, it's not a surgical mask, guys. It's an actual real nuclear, biological, and chemical type of mask. The one that we've been talking all along, and any survivalist worth its salt should have. Number So number 3, mask. Number 4, VIP bag. What's a VIP bag? Well, the VIP bag is your very important papers bag. That little cat bag, the little bag there, that's where you keep your documents, birth certificates, your passports. You don't have a passport? Well, you better get one because you definitely do need it. Anything important in terms of documents, USB drive with valuable data, family videos, photographs. Today you have Google and that backs you up, but you still want to have something physical on your own. Maybe a physical Bitcoin wallet, by the way, we're talking about so much. Maybe some precious metals, anything that you just would have in that little bag. Maybe a firearm as well. You may put that in a little VIP bag. This would be the first thing you have, you go for, the first thing you grab when you cannot grab anything else. That's small, that's compact. You can grab that and find your way out of a burning building, help someone else. The VIP bag is the first physical thing that you should be going for, besides the mask that allows you to breathe, of course. So, bag number 5, fuel. So you want to have fuel because this is the way in which you actually, work with your plan. Your plan is, I'm going to be going where? Town, family, friend. Okay, how much distance do I have to cover? When you figure out that, and the route you're going to be taking, the highway where everyone is trying to evacuate at the same time. As you know, everyone realizes that they have less than half a tank left when shit hits the fan. Everyone goes to a gas station at the same time. You end up dying because you don't have enough fuel. No, that's not the right plan. What you go for is having enough fuel plus 20% so as to implement your plan. Okay, that's how much fuel minimum you should have. Of course, this goes along with a vehicle that works properly. Sometimes it's not a big 4x4 truck. Maybe it's something like I have, a Honda CRV. That is the vehicle I use all the time. That's the vehicle I'm going to be having when I need it. It's not some bug out vehicle ready for the end of the world that is just waiting for a new suspension or new tires or whatever. It's a vehicle that has to work. Doesn't matter so much how much of huge tires it has. It matters more that it's reliable and that it works. In fact, good mileage is a lot more important than off-road capability. In fact, you may have a bit of off-road capability, but it's not as important as good gas mileage in most cases. All right, number 6. So your bug out bag, the typical stuff that you have in your bug out bag. But look at how far down the road we are when we just start talking about the thing that people think of first. So many times how many times have you seen people mention passports, birth certificates in your bug out bag? That's because they don't have it, because they keep that separately. You want to have these things in an order of priority. If I have just 1 minute, I grab this. If I get it to the bug out bag that's maybe next to the door, I go with that as well. But you have to have this prioritized. You need, number 1, you need a plan. All right, in your bug out bag, you'll probably have spare set of clothes. You'll have some water filtration, the typical stuff that you have in a bug out bag. You will have it there. All right, what is it now? Number 6, number 7, radio. Now I put this separately because with our UV5R, our bow fans, these need to be charged, and you're probably going to be having that in its dock, in its charging station right next to your bag. Maybe you're using it because you live a bit out in the sticks and you use that often. So maybe you keep the charger right next to your bug out bag, right next to the rest of your gear, and you grab whatever it is you can when you leave. Okay. Ideally, you would have like 5 minutes and throw all of this in the back of your car, of your truck or whatever, and go off, right? But if you don't have that time, if you just leave with your pajamas on, then at least have a plan. At least get yourself that VIP bag. Also, I have videos dedicated to that. Spare set of keys for your car, for your truck, in case you don't get to grab any of that. Okay. So moving on, number 7, radio, number 8, and number 9, food and water. Food and water, it could be one of these rations. Water is definitely more important, and I'll probably get more water in that bag. This is going to be depending on where you are. Cold climates, you will have maybe more cold climate clothing, because you may be freezing if you go out there with no clothes. So that's going to be a priority because of where you live. Water definitely is one of those things that you want to have more, and you don't see enough people having enough water in their bug out bags. You should definitely have more, and have more in your vehicle, which is likely the place you're going to be going for first if you have the chance to do that. Okay. Number 10, an actual firearm besides the gun that you may be keeping as a backup in your VIP bag. Having a pistol makes sense, but if you can get to a rifle as well. One of the things I was listening to people say, this is happening in Argentina right now, people that lost their houses because it got burned down, and at the same time they're worried about people taking over their land, and kicking them off of their property, because the government is, as always, doing nothing, and they're left to fend for themselves. So these folks not only lost everything, they now have to deal with not only looters, but people that are going to be kicking them off their homes and building a shack in its place. So they have to defend themselves. They have to defend themselves and their property. For that, get yourself a rifle if you get the chance. You probably can go with something like this. This is a neat setup because you would be using the same magazines and the same ammunition in the same gun. Now, if you want to have a separate, battle vest or whatever, a plate carrier with magazines and go with an AR instead, that's all good. Just have something to defend yourself. Maybe even something a little bit better than just a handgun, which would be the basic thing that you would have with you in a small kit like that. Also gloves, also pry bars, so as to move around stuff, collapse walls, buildings, anything any debris. You will likely find yourself going through the rubble, or even finding a way out of this mess yourself. It may be because of a fire, flood, doesn't matter. But gloves, pry bar, that's the kind of thing that you see people working with all the time when there's large-scale disasters like these. So, a few more things that came to mind. People were saying, we lost, I left with just the clothes on my back, so, you're going out there butt naked. Someone else was saying, all my life was in this place. All my life was in this place. I lost my home and I lost my job because I had my workplace. My workshop was there as well. So people that work from home in these places, maybe it's a farm, maybe it's a shop of some kind that you have, and it's all in the same place, and fire or water or whatever destroys both your home and your livelihood. You lose everything. So keep that in mind as well. What would you be doing in that case? Do you have some kind of online presence for your store, or you just move locally? This is a case in which having something online, even if you're the most salt of the earth type of person, having something online is something that's not being destroyed by fire, guys. Okay, so keep that in mind. Even if you're not much of a fan of that sort of technology, all of this matters. All right, folks? So this is the kind of mental exercise I like you guys to go through. And you work from here, you work from this kind of mentality, trying to role play the possible scenarios and the things you're likely to end up needing. All right, folks, so that's it for now. Remember that if you like all of this stuff in terms of the way I go about survival and preparedness, Street Survival Skills is my latest book and the one that I recommend so as to approach all of this. And of course, the Modern Survival Manual. Both of those are going to be linked there below, as well with some of this stuff. If I find something relevant, it's going to be there in case you are interested. Have an awesome day. See you on the next video. Take care.